from the AOC studios, deep in the heart of downtown Lafayette, Louisiana. It is fun. It's excitement. It's UL getting shellacked. Ugh, that was painful. It's thoughts on election 2014 as it stands right now and whatever else may come to mind on this Saturday night. It's Volume 7, Episode 8 of 124 East Main. On tonight's show, we discuss UL football, laying an egg. We'll also, as we mentioned, talk about the Senate race and give thoughts on it. And yes, Lafayette drivers, a complaint on the shame of the city. And yes, Alex Labad is a real man of genius. Good evening, Acadiana. Welcome into 124 East Main. I am your humble host, Ian Ozan. Happy that you are here with me this evening. Glad that those of you who may have gone to the UL game earlier this evening have made it back home safely and in one piece. Unfortunately, the Ragin' Cajuns, not so much. At last check, it was 31-7, Louisiana Tech leading. The Ragin' Cajuns, offensively couldn't get anything done. Defensively looked weak. 99-yard run for a touchdown in the second quarter to give Louisiana Tech, in the first quarter, to give La Tech a 7-0 lead, drawing first blood, and from then on it was all downhill. Cajuns' offense mounted a drive and a score early in the second, but other than that, it was just a rough night for the Ragin' Cajuns, assuming the result holds. And again, we've not been able to check on the result yet. We've not heard anything from Cajun Field in the last half an hour or so. But if that result holds, barring a miracle, the Cajuns will fall to 1-1. Louisiana Tech will move to 1-1 on the year, and the rivalry that was resumed after 10 years will resume the way it almost concluded 10 years ago, with Louisiana Tech coming out on top. And a lot of people talk about this weekend's game being a rivalry game and being the game that fans have been waiting for forever. Well, for those of you who waited on the game and waited on, who've been waiting 10 years for this game, saying that Louisiana Tech has been dodging the Cajuns, well, this is not how the Ragin' Cajuns wanted to resume this rivalry. Next weekend, the Cajuns, with an even tougher test, traveling to Oxford, Mississippi to take on Ole Miss. And you have to figure Mark Hudspeth and company are going to absolutely drill their players. Coach Hud and his crew and his team of coaches will absolutely hammer and drill their players during practices for the next week. There's no reason why they should have come in as dead as they did. It's not that they started the game flat. The fact that Louisiana Tech outplayed them, outmuscled them, and made the Cajuns look silly. It's the first time since Ricky Bussell that the Cajuns looked that sluggish on the field. Give Louisiana Tech credit, though. That squad, wow. They look better than anybody expected. Coming off that loss against Oklahoma last week and hearing all of the pundits talk, you figured, no, this team wouldn't be that great. This team would be a team that, in all actuality, is a team that maybe shouldn't have been as good as what we saw tonight. Louisiana Tech coming into this game was not supposed to be a team that would hang with the Ragin' Cajuns. Not only did they hang with the Ragin' Cajuns, they outran them. They outpaced them. Give La Tech credit. And I know that Louisiana Tech is this school that doesn't necessarily like to, let's see, hold on, which camera are we on right here? Yeah, we're on that one. Louisiana Tech doesn't necessarily like to doesn't like to claim that it's in the same state as UL. It likes to think it's better than UL in all aspects, including playing in a conference higher than the Sun Belt, though you can argue that Conference USA and the Sun Belt are even par right now. But Louisiana Tech made a statement this evening by beating a great team in the Ragin' Cajuns. Now it's time for the Cajuns to rebound and time for Louisiana Tech to continue to ride the momentum that they gained this evening. With that said, the Cajun defense needs to step up its game big time. Terrence Broadway and company didn't look all that impressive this evening as well. Broadway giving up an interception. They came back for a touchdown. The Cajuns giving up a couple of more fumbles that Louisiana Tech picked up. 99-yard touchdown run at the start of the game. We mentioned that. After the Cajuns penned La Tech inside their own 1-yard line by downing a punt. Special teams gave the Cajuns defense an opportunity to put the first points on the board with a safety. Nope! La Tech's running back went Bo Jackson on us. Live and learn, I guess. Live and learn. 366-8951 is the phone number this evening. Expecting a guest on the phone line in just a little bit. Blaze Talbot from Como High School. Clay shoot coming up in the next week or so to benefit the school's athletic department. We'll be hearing from her in just a little bit. And also your phone calls welcome as well. Of course, that phone number right there on the screen. Let's see, where's the number? There we go. 366-8951 is the phone number for those of you who do want to get it. If you're hearing train noises, that's because the downtown train is making its way through right about now. And the interesting thing about this building, the new location of AOC, we're right on the train track, so anytime a train passes by, we can hear it in the building. I've always wondered if those of you on the other end of the TV can hear the train. If you do, let us know. You'd figure at a TV studio you would have soundproofing in here where you could kill all that outdoor noise, but that's not exactly the case. 366-8951. Tomorrow, the New Orleans Saints kicking off their regular season, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints finishing 3-1 in the preseason. The Atlanta Falcons should be better than they were last year, considering they have Roddy White back. Matt Ryan will be healthy as well. All those players that they lost to injury last year, you would expect to be back. Of course, no Tony Gonzalez. He retired. The tight end taking away a key part of the Falcons' offense last year, but you'd figure that Atlanta retooled and made themselves better over the course of the season. Hold on, wait a second. We're forgetting an important set piece here. It just dawned on me. We can't do the show without the owl on set. There we go. Now we need to turn this just a little bit. There we go. We can't do the show without the owl here on set. I don't want to call it the mascot of the show, but this emblem of the show has been with us from the very beginning. We have to keep it on the set at all times. And I'm glad I caught it before we got too late into the show. I'm glad that we saw that the owl was missing. But at any rate, New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons tomorrow. Saints open the season on the road. They go to the Georgia Dome to take on the Dirty Birds. Noon kickoff tomorrow. Drew Brees will be back in action after nursing a slight injury that he suffered during the preseason, during training camp, I should say. Tomorrow I don't want to say it's going to be a test because of course it will be, but it's going to answer a lot of questions that Saints fans and fans of the NFC South have been asking for the last few weeks. One, how truly healthy is Drew Brees? Has his injury fully healed? Will he still be feeling the effects of that injury? Secondly, how will Atlanta be improved? Will they be improved at all from last year? How are they going to come out the gates? Which of these two teams will establish supremacy in the conference, or pardon me, in the division in week one? Of course, every division game matters. After all, look at what happened to the Saints last year, choking towards the end, giving up two big losses in the last couple weeks of the season, and then dropping the division championship because of those two losses. Last year it was Carolina was a team to beat. This year, some people say it'll be the Atlanta Falcons. Again, because they have their pieces back. Will the new look Saints defense be able to stop Atlanta? Will Matty Ice prove that the New Orleans Saints defense is indeed sinkable? We'll have to wait till noon tomorrow to find out. And again, for those of you who will be tuning in, will be watching the game, let's try. It's early in the year. Let's not put too much on the back of the Saints yet. Remember, the New Orleans Saints, this is a franchise that's only been winning consistently for the last 6 or 7 years. Let's remember that anything can happen to send them back to their old losing ways. All it takes is one injury, one person to leave, one person to retire, and the Saints are back as bottom feeders. And again, the New Orleans Saints trying to make another run of the playoffs starting tomorrow. At noon, that game will be on Fox. You can also catch it on the radio on 97.3, The Dog. Let's go ahead. Let's see if we can... Go ahead, get our special guest on the phone. For a second, I thought we should have called by now, but... For ringy dingy.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 3375.
No. We can't leave a message. Not if it's going to give the phone number right over the air. Can't do that. Don't want to give away Blaze's phone number. While I'm on the air, and speaking of Lafayette Parish and schools and coaches and stuff like that, Lafayette Parish School Board, I know you've got your issues. I know you've got stuff to worry about, and I know that there's been a lot of attention given to you lately. But can we all just get along for just a little bit to where we could get air conditioning in the high school gyms in the parish? Anybody who's played basketball and played volleyball, refereed those two sports in any of the gyms in Lafayette Parish knows this time of year, it is hot as hell in there. Unbearably so. We're in the 2010s, 2014, and there's still no AC in these gyms. And as a result, you have players who are risking their health, officials risking their health, coaches, PE teachers risking their health every day when they go to PE or when they take part in extracurricular activities in those gyms. Come on, Lafayette Parish School Board. Find it in your budget to at the very least put air conditioners in these school gyms. They need them. Just got a tweet from Vic in San Diego saying, "You'd love the endearing southern accent the ref has in the San Diego State University UNC game." I may have to check that out after we get out of here this evening. I wonder if it's Ron Cherry who's officiating that game. Very well, Mr. Giving him the business from, the Given in the Business game was 8 years ago. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? 366-8951 is the phone number for those of you who do want to get in. But again, Lafayette Parish School Board, please, air conditioners in gyms would be nice. That said, those are the students that go to David Thibodeau, they got lucky. Because that school is so new, they actually have AC in that gym. All right, let's move on now to the U.S. Senate race. Rob Mayness, Bill Cassidy, Mary Landrieu, and a host of other characters who are involved. I know that certain people are trying their best to force Mary Landrieu out of this race. I know there are certain people that want to oust Mary Landrieu at all costs. I know there are certain folks in the Louisiana political realm that are doing their damnedest to get rid of her. But if you're going to attempt to oust the senior senator from the state, there are two things that you need to do. First off is have a contingency plan for how you're going to make up the clout that she holds on the Senate Energy Committee. And secondly, have a better plan than saying that she lives with her parents. And that, well, let me take a step back. Have a better plan than saying that she is now a permanent resident of Washington, D.C. And that she no longer lives in Louisiana. When she does visit, she lives with her parents. I'll get back to that thought, to the second part of that in a second. But it boggles the mind that certain factions of Louisiana, of the Louisiana political realm, have no way, or at least have not yet openly mentioned, what they intend to do if Landrieu is voted out this November with regards to maintaining Louisiana's spot at the forefront of Senate energy relations. Landrieu's got that spot on the Senate Energy Committee that has, at least at face value, has served this state well, has kept the state of Louisiana in discussions about energy, about the oil and gas industry, and about drilling that is oh so important to so many people here, because quite frankly, that's still what drives the economy in South Louisiana. For better or for worse, it drives the economy here. Even for all the diversification that happened after the oil bust in the 1980s, oil is still king. So nobody's explained what would happen or how they would keep Louisiana at the top of the Senate energy food chain if Landrieu were removed. Secondly, with a new senator coming in, with David Vitter, who's not exactly been the nicest person to work with in Washington, D.C., how in the world would a brand new senator, along with Vitter, work to bring pork back to this state? I know a lot of people don't like talking about it. But you got to give the current legislative delegation their due. At least they're doing a decent job of bringing pork back every now and again. Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you talking about Senator Landrieu right now and accomplishments on the Energy Committee. Do you know how long Senator Landrieu's been on the committee and the reason why she's the chairman of the committee?
Enlighten me.
Well, I mean, I believe she just took the oath as chairman of that committee because of the election and the bond that she's in right now. Am I mistaken?
Say that again?
I believe she just took chairman of the Senate Energy Committee, has she not?
That was within the last 2 years.
I believe it was a little closer to that. I believe it's after Barack Obama won the election she took over, correct?
Like I said, within the last 2 years. It was definitely within the last election cycle.
All right, but anyway, so if we're going to talk political games, and it seems like you're verge of a Democrat, which I'm watching you show for the first time.
I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent, more pragmatic and looking at things.
Well, but tell me, what good has she done as an energy chairman?
Not necessarily what good she's done, but again, having that voice there. I can't say what she's done just yet, but again, if you're Louisiana, and again, as a voter here, as someone who's thinking about the clout that Louisiana has on that committee, what happens if we, as Louisiana, lose her? I'm just asking as a point of debate, as a point of argument.
I think you have a valid point. I really think you do. But in the same vein, I really, truly believe she's become just a politician at the end of the day. She's not worried about Louisiana. She votes with the president on over 90% of the time, statistically, not just because I've seen it on TV, statistically. I just think she hasn't helped Louisiana. I just think she's helped Mary Landrieu.
Right. But also at the same time, I can make that...
David Vitter shouldn't even be in any of this discussion for he is running for governor.
Well, that's the thing. But again, that's the same thing. I can make the same argument about David Vitter, about Bobby Jindal, about any other politician.
Absolutely. I think
every politician votes to be
10 years
self-serving.
in Congress, I believe that you should be gone. I think there should be term limits for Congress. I completely agree with you. I think you would voice the same opinion. But, you know, in some case, just like in the state house and the state legislature, you lose good people that could be there for 12 years, but you lose them because of term limits in 8 years.
Right.
So, and I've seen Ben Nevers, and I don't have nothing against Democrats, but I've seen Ben Nevers in the state house and Senate voice his opinion so heavily on education. He's been a prime advocate of education, and he's a highly Democrat here in Louisiana, the House of the Senate. So, I mean, on good sides, we lose on both parties. I'm a Republican, hardcore, but I've worked in the legislature for 20-something years now, and
bless your heart.
we do have good legislators.
Right. I don't dispute that. You're absolutely right. But and that's the thing. It's with term limits in Louisiana, you do lose good people,
Absolutely.
or you can do like I forget who.
Is what really helps Louisiana at the end of the day? Does Mary Landrieu really make that big an impact in the U.S. Senate to declare money for oil and gas industry, or does the people who establish small businesses and compete with big boy oils bring money to the table?
That's a valid question.
I truly believe that Congress doesn't allocate as much money as people assume that they have for over the past several years. If you don't remember correctly, under Kathleen Blanco, who was a big Democrat from Iberia Parish, she brought a lot of oil royalties that was stolen from Louisiana.
Right. She continued a tradition begun by Edwin Edwards in the 1970s.
So, exactly my point. So, does the U.S. Senate really uphold a lot of what we believe strength for oil and gas?
Not necessarily in bringing money, but also in drawing up regulations that make life easier or more difficult for the oil companies.
Well, I'll leave you with this, and I tell you what, I kind of like what you're doing here. I mean, this is like a good old boy show. You watch the TV, it's nothing, too fancy, but it's to get the point across, and I appreciate local television like this.
No, we appreciate you watching.
Let's talk oil field related. Deep water drilling, we worry about how many fish we can kill by drilling drilling wells within the ocean. But how about on land when something happens bad and you kill people? There's more regulatory for deep water than there is on land. So wouldn't it be transparent to make the same for both?
You're absolutely right.
And I'm just saying, so is the whole system biased? Absolutely. It's all at the end of the day, who's going to cut the bigger political check for that particular party. And it goes both ways, Republicans and Democrats. Has David been an angel? He has not. Definitely has not, even since he was in the state legislature. But if you remember in time, all of these good politicians lose the first go-round, and then they sell their souls.
Yeah.
Simply as that.
And that's the
Well,
thing.
you have a good night, sir.
I appreciate you calling, and you said this is the first time you're watching. I hope you tune in again, and we hope to hear from you again. This is a good call. Ooh, call from the Red Roof Inn. Caller, go ahead. Caller.
Man, I want to let you know you're doing a good job.
I appreciate
I
that.
want to let you know you're doing a good job.
I appreciate that. Thank you for calling in and letting us know.
Okay, then.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. That call reminds me, if you do call in, turn down your TV, listen through your phone, because there's about a 2-second delay between TV and phone. 2 good calls to start the show so far. Okay, thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. That was not related to the topic at hand. Jumping to part 2 of the Mary Landrieu thing, with regards to using her residency as a means of trying to oust her from office. For those of you who missed it, yesterday a judge in New Orleans ruled that dismissed I forget who filed the lawsuit. It wasn't the state legislator who was running for Senate. I forget who filed the lawsuit. It'll come to me later on, probably after we get off the air. But at any rate, the lawsuit that was filed challenging Landrieu's candidacy was dismissed on a technicality. The judge ruled that her eligibility can only be questioned or can only be challenged in court after she is elected. After she's elected, that is assuming she does win the race. If she wins the race, then someone can challenge her candidacy. But right now, the lawsuit, according to this judge, is premature. The report I heard said that that ruling will be challenged in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on there and what happens. But here's my beef with challenging Landrieu's candidacy based on residency. If you were going to challenge Landrieu's candidacy by saying that she is now a resident of Washington, D.C., that she owns a home there, that she lives there, then there should be several other members of Congress, both in the House and in the Senate, whose residency should be challenged as well. Let's even go back 60, 70 years before the advent of mass air travel, when a majority, if not all, of congressmen lived in Washington, D.C. during their terms, when they rarely went back to their states, again, because of lack of transportation, mass air transportation. Because those legislators, because those congressmen failed to return and maintain residency in their state for X amount of time, should that have disqualified them from holding office? Should anybody who serves in Congress be disqualified for holding office for living outside of their state for an extended period of time? And considering that Congress is in session for, 10 months out of the year? I forget how long they take for vacation. They get that long summer break, and there are a couple of other breaks here and there that they do get. Christmas break, and I'm sure I'm missing one or two more in there. What constitutes a congressman or a congresswoman maintaining residency in a state? The argument about Landrieu living at her parents' home, she is a part owner of that home along with her brothers and sisters and her parents. So be it. Does she physically live there? I don't know. That's a good question, and that may be something that may be what the case hinges on, assuming that it does go to a federal judge if Landrieu wins. But it just seems to me that the argument that because she has a home in Washington, D.C. equals Landrieu not resident of Louisiana, that argument seems to be a little bit far-fetched. after all, I'm sure there are a number of other congressmen who either own or rent homes or condominiums and live in Washington, D.C. for an extended amount of time a year. There are a lot of things that you can call Mary Landrieu out on the carpet for. Namely, the incident of her paying for charter flights for campaign events. She rightly deserves to be hounded for that because she screwed up. There are areas where every politician, where everyone in Washington, D.C. deserves to be hounded. I guarantee you there's one that everybody in D.C. has made at least one misstep that you can crack them on. Living in Washington, D.C. while serving and representing their district or their state is not one of them. If the Louisiana Republican Party truly seeks to oust Mary Landrieu, it needs to focus on the issues. It needs to do what the Louisiana Republican Party did so well between 1976 with the introduction of the jungle primary system in Louisiana and roughly 2000 to 2004. The Louisiana Republican Party needs to work on issues. That's what got Dave Treen into office in 1980. It's the reason why you see so many Republicans representing what was, up until 10 years ago, a heavily Democratic state. Because whether or not they upheld their word, politicians from this state, particularly Republicans, were very good at finding the issues that touched the nerves of the people they represented. And nowadays, the Louisiana GOP is turning its attention away from the issues and more so, how can we keep Democrats out of office? How can we keep anyone that doesn't have an R next to his or her name out of office? And when the Republican Party does that, it misses the point of what government is about. And that is taking care of the people that governments represent. Of maintaining the communities, of maintaining the states and the nation in which people live. If you truly want to beat Mary Landrieu, beat her at the issues game. She's beatable. Very beatable. Even for a 3-term senator who does have a coveted spot on the Energy Committee, she can be beat. Even I will admit that. But part of me thinks that the Republican Party knows it's screwed up by picking Bill Cassidy, a regional candidate without much statewide name recognition, to run against her. You figured the Republican Party would have had somebody else to run against Landrieu. But they go with Cassidy. They could have picked up Rodney Alexander, who lasted all of 2 months as Bobby Jindal's Secretary of Veterans Affairs. He could have run. He had more name recognition than Landrieu, and frankly, after being the dean of the Louisiana delegation on the House side, he easily could have made the transition to the Senate. Even John Fleming, who represents Northwest Louisiana in the House, he would have been a better option. Charles Boustany doesn't want the gig. He would have turned it down even if asked. I think, anyway. But you still had other people who'd been in the House longer than Cassidy, who, mind you, is a one-term rep. And the Republicans would have at least had a fighting chance to beat Landrieu. Bill Cassidy does not. It's hard for me, as someone who does work in media, and someone who watches these commercials with a bit of a different eye, it's difficult for me to take Bill Cassidy seriously because his delivery, I I don't want to say his delivery is insincere. That's too harsh of a word. I think he's sincere, but he doesn't have the media training or the coaching to pull off these commercials. He seems stiff. He seems tight. He seems unsure in his commercials. And that's something that, as a voter, it makes me wonder if he looks uncomfortable in front of the camera doing a commercial, how's he going to be comfortable working on the Senate side? Cassidy's a nice guy from all accounts. He's one of the few people in Louisiana government I've not met yet. But everything I've heard about him has been good. He's a nice guy. He's a doctor. Hell, he saved a man's life on a flight to Washington, D.C. last year. But again, just from a standpoint of looking at who the Republican Party could have run against Landrieu, I don't think they made the best choice. Of course, you have Rob Mayness on the outside looking in. The Tea Party's already endorsed him, though. His candidacy is almost DOA. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. And you have 6 others, including 3 candidates from Acadiana, 3 small-timers who are running. You have a lady from Opelousas, you have a Democrat from Lafayette, and you have a Republican from, is it Breaux Bridge, Broussard, one of the B towns around here. I think it's Breaux Bridge. St. Martin Parish, that's right example. Lafayette, St. Landry, St. Martin. Who are going to split some of the vote. Not by much, they're not going to take much, but you do have those candidates who will split the vote. And that makes me wonder whether or not these lawsuits and these challenges to Landrieu's candidacy are merely a last-ditch effort of preserving a Republican victory in the November election. If that's the case, it makes me wonder about the planning and the organization of the Louisiana GOP, a party that in 40 years has come really a long way. But to see them resort to this makes me wonder about where they are right now. 366-8951 is the phone number for those of you who do want to get in. Speaking of the election coming up, if you have not had a chance yet to look at all of the issues that are on the ballot, if you've not had a chance to brush up on what's coming up, I know it's September the 6th. I know we're still 2 days, or let's see, we are 2 months away. I'm trying to think of the exact number of days that we're away. But we're 2 months away. And the election day is November 4th. So we're just shy of 2 months away from Election Day. Folks, if you don't know what's on your ballot yet, do yourself a favor and look it up right now, because with, I think it's 14 constitutional amendments, depending on what parish you live in, you will have tax propositions. If you live in Lafayette Parish, let's see, Lafayette Parish, the only proposition there is for the city of Youngsville. So unless you live in Youngsville, if you're in Lafayette Parish and are outside of Youngsville, you're in the clear. Youngsville, you've got a tax prop. St. Martin, I don't think has any prop. St. Landry, I don't think has any. Iberia, I don't think has any. Vermilion does. Acadia does not. But at any rate, if you are within the sound of my voice, if you live within the 5-parish area that AOC covers, do yourself a favor. Secretary of State's website has the constitutional amendments, has all of the tax propositions by parish, as well as a parish-by-parish breakdown of which items you will see on your ballot, which for the parishes I mentioned, the 5 that are in the AOC's viewing area, Lafayette, St. Martin, Iberia, Acadia, Vermilion, you will see the Senate race. You will see the 3rd Congressional District. Charles Boustany has 2 people running against him. So that one will pop up on the ballot. You haven't heard much about it because Boustany really doesn't have much of a challenge. He's got Brian Barrio from Lake Charles running against him. Barrio ran back let's see, 2 years ago when the 7th and 3rd districts were merged, and he finished in a very distant 4th place. I think he picked up 3% of the vote. There's a no-party candidate running in that race. I forget what his name is. First time this person will be running for election. So you have the 3rd congressional district race. You've got the Senate race coming up. School board races in all of those parishes will be on the ballot, though keep in mind, depending on what district you are in Vermilion, Iberia, Acadia, St. Martin, a lot of those races are unopposed. Lafayette Parish is the only parish in that area, and for that matter in Acadiana, in which all school board races will be opposed. So keep that in mind. You also have judicial races. 16th Judicial District in St. Martin and St. Martin and Iberia will be 16th Judicial. Acadia, Vermilion, Lafayette, 15th Judicial District. Some of those races will be unopposed. Some of the judgeships are unopposed. 15th JDC, of course, Mike Harson taking on Keith Stutes in the DA's race. Several of the judgeships will have opposed races. Matter of fact, I think only 1 or 2 of them are unopposed. Jules Edwards and Ed Rubin will be reassuming the bench without opposition. And there may be one other one where a judge does not have any competition. Constables and justices of the peace in all parishes, those are up on the ballot, but again, there'll be some that are unopposed. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yes, city marshals races, city marshals and city judge races in cities that have those races, and several small towns in Acadiana, including all of the smaller municipalities in Lafayette Parish and a good number of the municipalities in St. Martin, Iberia, Acadia, Vermilion will have races on the ballot as well, because unlike Lafayette and some of the bigger cities, all these small towns do have their races in midterm congressional election years. For those of you living in the city of Lafayette, you will have to wait till next year with city parish council races. One other note, Karen Crow, for those of you who live in the city of Karen Crow, your slate's clean. You will not be voting on city officials because everybody's elected because they're running unopposed. Mayor Glenn Brasso, unopposed. Chief of Police Carlos Stute, unopposed. The 5 city councilmen, all reelected, all unopposed. First time I can remember that happening here in Acadiana. So, Karen Crow, your lives have just been made a lot easier. But again, for a complete look at what's on your ballot, you can always go to Secretary of State's website, Go Vote, GEAUX Vote, VOTE.com is the link that will take you there. For those of you who want to access SOS's page directly, it's sos.la.gov. You can get all the information. Go Vote just links you back to sos.la.gov. But at any rate, Secretary of State's website has all that information, and they update when people drop out, things like that, which for the races here, we haven't had that issue yet. St. Landry Parish, 2 races already have seen people withdraw or get kicked off the ballot. One was in Washington with a judge kicking off a chief of police candidate there, and in Opelousas, 2 city alderman candidates dropped out on Thursday or Friday, I forget what day. So there's that, but we haven't had that happen in the 5 parish AOC area just yet. And the other place you can go, and I'm a bit biased because I compiled this list, is over at KACC.com. At the top of their page, there is a link that says candidates who've qualified. You can click that and it will give you a summary of the constitutional amendments, a summary of the parish-wide propositions, and of course a list of all the candidates running for the races, though I will have to update it Monday to reflect who dropped out of races in a couple of St. Landry Parish races we have seen. So you can check there. Z is checking in. Top 2 U.S. Open men's seeds eliminated. What a shame. Roger Federer lost today. I forget who must have been Novak. Djokovic must have been the other one, which makes me wonder who's in the finale. Question. Way to go from politics to the U.S. Open. Who's in the who's in the final? U.S. Open going on in New York right now. I really wanted to go back for that, but that didn't happen. But again, 366-8951 is the phone number for those of you who want to get in. Again, we've been talking politics for the better part of the last half an hour. So if you want to get in, you want to talk about some of the races that are coming up, we definitely can do that. We've got 10 minutes left in the show, and again, it's really an open mic, open forum this evening, as it typically is here on 124 East Main. Again, for those of you who are seeing us for the first time this evening on the show, we appreciate you tuning in. We hope that you'll tune back in with us. We're here every Saturday night from 9 until 10 o'clock, and we talk sports, we talk politics, we even talk professional wrestling every now and again, so feel free to chime in with any or all of that. Let me go ahead and try my partner in crime once more, Coach Blaze Talbot from Como High School. They have a skeet shoot coming up in the in the coming days. For those of you keeping score at home, in the U.S. Open, Marin Cilic and some guy from Japan are in the final at the U.S. Open. I hope Blaze didn't fall asleep on me.
Your call has been forwarded.
Apparently she did. Let's see. Let me see if she'll answer when I call on my cell phone. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, surprisingly, it does.
Your call has been forwarded to an...
Nope. She must have fallen asleep. 366-8951. Well, I got it. And since she's not calling in, I'll go ahead and mention it right now. Como's softball backer skeet shoot. That is coming up on September the 20th over at the Wilderness Club here in Lafayette. It's a fundraiser for the Como High School softball team, which is one of the better squads here in Acadiana. And again, for those of you who follow high school sports, high school softball, Como is always one of those teams that you have to be on the watch for because they are a perennial state championship contender, along with St. Thomas More, the Beauchamps of the world. Como is always that team that you expect to go far in the playoffs. They're having a softball backer skeet shoot. This is again to raise money for the team. That'll be coming up on September the 20th over at the Wilderness Club in Lafayette. For more information, you can contact Josette Duyon. 288-7731 is that number. Again, that's 288-7731. That's on September the 20th. That event is coming up. That is what? Today is the 16th. That's 2 weeks from today that event is going to be taking place. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about it again next week here on the show, and hopefully we'll be able to get Blaze on the air with us as well to talk about the skeet shoot, give more details on that. Serena Williams and Carolyn Wozniacki were in the finals of the U.S. Open winning. Trying to figure out if they played yet or not. And of course, the general rule of the show is if you know my cell phone, you can always text and or call while we're on the air. We've got about 6.5 minutes left in the show this evening. While we got a chance, the one thing I've not talked about yet, and looking off to the side and looking over at our topics board here, Lafayette, I love you. I was born here. I was raised here. I love this city. There's a reason why I'm still here. There's a reason why, despite better judgment, I am here. But for the love of Christ, Lafayette, your drivers suck. I'll get back to that thought in a second. Caller, go ahead. Turn down your TV, please. Hello? Hello? Go ahead, turn down your TV, listen through your phone. Hello?
All right, afternoon.
Hello?
Yes.
It's you, go ahead. And caller rejects. Again, folks, if you were calling in, turn down your television, listen through your phone. There's a 2-second delay between TV and what you're seeing. 2-second delay between me saying it and you hearing it on the other end. So turn down your TV, listen through your phone, and then we can go ahead from there. Well, women play tomorrow. Men play Monday night. I didn't realize the U.S. Open made that a permanent change. They used to play the women's final used to be Saturday night in prime time, and the men on Sunday after football on CBS. We've got 5 minutes left of the show. Back to my thought. Lafayette, your drivers suck. And I say that lovingly. But it makes me wonder how a city so awesome, how a city that is known for its culture, how a city that is known for its food, how a city that is known for so many great things has drivers that are so terrible. A city that has drivers that wait 3 seconds after a light turns green to take off. That have drivers that serve as pace cars in the left lane. Look, this is not NASCAR. I don't want a pace car driving slower than the cars in the right lane. I don't understand how people don't know how to use their turn signals when changing lanes or turning. It's a novel concept. Signal. How drivers don't know how to put on their lights during rainstorms. It's simple stuff, folks. Simple stuff. I know Lafayette, just traffic-wise, is crazy as it is. I know Lafayette has issues with roads, and that's part of the problem. But come on, people. You can drive better than this. You can do your part in driving safely. You can do your part in keeping other drivers from getting ticked off at you. Follow the rules of the road. If you're going to drive slow, get in the right lane. Free up traffic for us. Obey no left turn signs. Use your turn signal when you change lanes. Don't tailgate, for the love of Christ. And the biggest one, don't text and drive. Almost got hit by someone today who was texting and driving. Though with that said, after that rant, I have to give you folks credit. I've got to give you drivers in Acadiana credit. Because if I don't know what in the world, I don't know what happened between the last holiday season and Labor Day. But whatever the case is, whatever happened, something sunk into your skulls. There were no fatalities on the roads this weekend, or I should say last weekend, because of drunk driving. There were no fatals in Troop I. There were, I want to say 19 DWI arrests, 30-something crashes. But the biggest thing that state police reported during Labor Day weekend was that when they pulled cars over for traffic violations, the drunks in the car were in the passenger seat and designated drivers were the ones driving. Congratulations, Acadiana. You've learned. You've done something right, and I'm proud of you for it. Z checks in. Too many people texting distracted on the phone and hardly anything done about it. Cell phone should be banned while driving. Texting already is banned while driving, but handheld devices, the legislature has tried passing that law already, and it's failed multiple times. Bluetooth, gold tooth, or no tooth. That's going to be a difficult sell in the legislature. Too much lobbying going on there and too much cell phone company interest. And on that note, we're done for the night. It's been fun. We want to thank all the callers who called in. We want to thank Z for checking in. And until we meet again next week, I'm Ian Ozan reminding you, don't take life too seriously. You're not getting out alive anyway. Good night, everybody.